There, now I can talk.
Was it set to my mic?
Something. I think that's probably what happened. Properties. Go ahead and talk once.
Can you hear me?
Yep, it's coming through.
All right.
All right, all right, all right. Yeah. Hey,
Are we
let
are we live? Can they see us?
we're live.
Oh, this is embarrassing
Yeah.
for Ryan.
Why is it embarrassing for Ryan and not you?
Because he was frozen, and
Ah.
I was hoping he didn't hear that
I
part of it.
I feel like Ryan's gonna be frozen throughout the show. So
Unfortunately, this is really frustrating for me.
yeah,
Aw.
it's all right. It
You
is
got
what
it?
it is. Yeah.
Mm.
Let's get into it.
Ready.
Hey everybody, welcome to You Have to Watch This podcast. I'm Alan,
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devin.
and I'm back. I hope you guys had fun last week without me.
We missed you.
We're back at the same bet time, same bet channel. Back to our normal time slot because somebody went back to work today.
Ryan.
Ryan had off.
I don't mind picking on you today, Ryan. I'm sorry. I'm just coming in hot.
Yeah.
I don't mean it.
It's a good thing that one didn't even phase me.
Disney adult Devin's a dick.
Well, hold on. We have to
usually
quantify that. We
They
have to
usually are.
quantify
Oh,
why
that's
we're
gonna-
calling me Disney Adult Devin in a second.
No, that's the cold open of the show. So if you want to find out why, listen to the podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. So yeah, I took last week off. I was dealing with some stuff, part of which was my move, which is done. I only have one residence now. I'm back in the middle class, guys. But I still have a bunch of stuff to unpack, but it's coming along. So, but I was able to get my good camera out. So
You look great, and I want you to use that curtain behind you for dramatic reveals. Like
surprise
from
for
now
you,
on.
ladies and gentlemen. Mike Myers. No, I'm kidding. Could you imagine? I just had Mike Myers like buy my water heater, like.
Listen, we've been on a call for 30 minutes. If you had Mike Myers hiding back there for 30 minutes, I'd be so mad.
Throw me a freaking bone here.
We have to
Yeah.
talk about that.
Yeah. Before we get into all of that, how are you guys doing?
Yeah, doing well. It's been a good week. It's been a busy week, but a really good one. And we'll talk about why it was a little bit weird later. But
Okay.
yeah, good week, man. How about you?
I'll say,
No,
Devin, we know how his week went.
Yeah.
Hey, there might have been bright spots that he didn't tell us about.
Well, there is one, and we'll get into that then.
Okay.
But before we do that, Ryan, how are you? You good?
I'm doing okay.
I'm sad that we can't see your anniversary present that you showed us.
Yeah, because it's on that wall over there.
Can
And
you
I
turn
can't-
can you turn it or not?
Oh, let me try without making the internet freeze. Okay. And that's my water bottle. That's a
Another water
flavored
bottle?
water. Flavored water.
I just thought there was going to be continuous flavored waters.
Why do you have so many flavored waters?
Because I've been drinking them like on the shows and I just don't remove them because I just don't. But yes, these are racks that Kristen got me for our anniversary. So I can line up all of my Hot Wheels that I collect, and they're kind of scattered. I'm trying to do like a color thing where it's like all the white, red, and then go through like the color scale. It got to the point where I just was like, I was separating, and then I kind of stopped, and I was just like, I'm just gonna throw them up. So like, it's almost that way now. I just got to finish it. But the last row is all of my like movie cars and stuff that
Nice.
I've gotten. But yeah,
That looks really good.
yeah, it's a lot better than it just being in the ottoman on the floor over here.
Yeah. I found all of my Hot Wheels in the move, and I'm like, they're all in their boxes still, but I want to get like a cool track and just have that in my basement. Because my
That would be
basement,
so
my
cool.
I am just doing a bunch of stuff. My wife's bringing me something. I've got a cool idea for decorating my new space. Because you guys know I go to a toy show every year in Carlisle, right? I want to show you my big purchase this year.
That is incredible. Explain it for our audio
This
people.
this is Val Kilmer's Batwing from Batman Forever. So
That's the expensive one. What's the expensive?
and it's missing the capsule that Batman actually goes in. But my plan is, because I have the Independence Day ship that I got last year, and I have an Enterprise. I'm gonna get fishing line and just hang them from the ceiling.
Oh,
And
incredible.
like eventually get a Millennium Falcon and a TARDIS and
I cannot wait to visit you and bat them around like a cat. It's going to be great.
have them hanging above the air hockey table right next to the arcade cabinet. All of which is happening. Like all of that's happening down here. Like it's going to be awesome.
And you're not allowed to call it a man cave.
It's the Bat Cave. Like it's a
the
Bat Cave.
There you
It's a
go.
Bat Cave.
There you go. Very, very specific bat things.
Yes.
That's
yeah,
incredible.
it's gonna be awesome. But it was a weird weekend because we finished up at the old place, and the one room that I was responsible for cleaning out was the closet Ryan and I started the podcast in. So stay tuned to our Instagram page because I've got a photo of that to share with everyone. And I think I have photos from when we started too that I'm going to show you the before and after.
Is it literally just you two in the closet?
Yeah, but I decorated the walls and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, that's cool. I want those.
Yeah. Let's get real for a minute. We're gonna, before we start the show, we usually talk about things that we watched in pop culture. We're gonna do that. But before we do, we wanted to talk a little bit about the late Paul Reubens. Paul Reubens, best known for playing Pee Wee Herman in the Pee Wee Herman films and Pee Wee's Playhouse, and a whole bunch of other stuff on the internet. Passed away of cancer. We wanted to talk about we didn't want to do Big Top Pee Wee on the show, but we've all seen Pee Wee's Big Adventure. How do you guys feel about Paul Reubens passing?
It's a shock. I mean, good for him. He didn't come forward about it. I personally like the fact that he didn't. But because he didn't, like, nobody knew outside of who he wanted. It came as a shock. Like I couldn't believe it. That and his like fan Facebook page on Facebook, like there's like a dedicated like Pee Wee Herman like fan page. They came out with it, and it took like 25 minutes for any of the major like even TMC to come out with it. I found that to be very interesting, that they were that like locked down about the whole situation.
Well, it's weird because like sometimes news organizations don't, like, especially with something like this, you don't want to break it without vetting your sources. So good on
true.
TMZ for not taking a Facebook group's news and just publishing it right away. Devin, how do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, obviously sad. This was one of those things that when it broke, I was.
I
like,
know you
oh,
are.
yeah,
What am I?
I know. It was also one of those things that I was like, yeah, all right, he's not dead. Like, this is some, like, crappy thing that's going around, and I'll Google it, and he'll be fine. And, but that part really sucks. I think Pee Wee never played a big part in my movie watching or TV show watching. I think, like, when Adult Swim picked up Pee Wee's Playhouse, I watched a couple of episodes when I was, like, bored and a teen. But, like, for the most part, I never really watched much of him. I think my favorite thing that he's been in was Smash Mouth's All-Star music video as Spleen. But, like, it's so interesting for me to see how many of my I did this to make Ryan mad. But it's interesting for me to see how many of my friends really, really cared about him, and like that he was a formative part of their childhood growing up, and that's that's really a shame.
Yeah, no, I
now yell at me, Ryan.
Whatever. Yeah, no, I grew up watching the show. Like I grew up watching.
Did you?
Yes. I had a I had like an 8 of what's the word? The thing with the ventriloquist.
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 Thank
Yeah.
you.
That's a hard
Thank
word.
you. Yeah, especially when you can't. But anyway, I had like an 18-inch doll of him that was that, and then I also had like the tiny little like micro figure of him growing up. So yeah, like he was part of my TV watching growing up as a kid. But yeah, no, it's upsetting.
Yeah. It's nice that he went out with some dignity, like releasing a statement, having it prepared. Like that was touching, and thanking his fans, and like it's rough, but he will be missed. So
Absolutely will. Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's move. Let's raise our bow ties to Pee Wee Herman. So
Or a bow tie.
this is the part of the show where we talk about things we watched in pop culture. Because of the ongoing writers and actors strike, we are not going to be talking about anything new in pop culture. But I did want to tell a story adjacent to something new in pop culture. I saw Oppenheimer. And I had a rough week last week. I'm not going to review Oppenheimer. I'm going to tell you about my experience going to see it. Because I moved recently, so I have new movie theaters closer to me. And with Oppenheimer, I was like, I'm going to go see this at IMAX. After having the week that I had last week, I was like exhausted and like on a spur of the moment. It's like, okay, I'm going to buy tickets. We're going to go see Oppenheimer in IMAX. Go to this new theater that it was new to me, about 45 minutes away because it's the closest IMAX screen. Get there, get in our seats, and I'm like, this is the smallest IMAX screen I've ever seen in my life. Like I was kind of upset. I was like, yeah, I'm here. I didn't buy the right tickets for IMAX.
Oh, no.
I made such a big point about going to this theater to see it in IMAX, and I bought the wrong tickets. So I still have not seen Oppenheimer in IMAX. So thought that was a fun story to tell.
Oh, did you think you lost something? Like, I haven't seen it yet. Would you recommend doing the IMAX thing?
I thought it was. We thought it was IMAX just because of the sound. Like the sound was insane. But yeah, I would go see it again and see it in IMAX for real this time. So
okay.
But yeah,
wow.
That was just a fun story I thought I'd tell you guys.
It makes me so sad, Alan. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It made me sad too. It's like we went to dinner afterwards. Like I know I shouldn't be this upset about it, but I'm very upset about this right now.
Aww.
So, Devin, what did you see this week?
Literally the polar opposite of what your story is going to be. Guys, I don't know how much prep work you have into what I've done this week or how much you've seen, but they turned something into a musical. And it wasn't the Pee Wee Herman show on Broadway, believe it or not, but it's akin to it. I watched SpongeBob the Musical this weekend, and you know what? It was great. It was super fun. Was it like the best musical I've ever seen? No, not at all. Did it win a Tony Award or should it? Probably not. But I think that it was the best version of what a SpongeBob musical ever could be. I
have a question.
Yes.
Was it pretty much just an episode?
Yeah, kinda. I mean, it was.
That's all.
Like a 2-hour-long episode. Really.
That's all it needs to be.
Yeah.
Like seriously.
I'm a bit aware of this just from it being on Broadway, but I haven't listened to like any of the songs from it. Are they songs from the show? Or are they original? Is it both? Like,
it's a bit. So obviously they end the show with a rollicking rendition of the theme song, because of course they do. And then that Best Day Ever song from the first movie is also makes an appearance. But dude, there's a song that SpongeBob sings called Simple Sponge. It slaps. It has no right to go so hard. It's so good. And the interesting thing about this musical is that I had the playbill somewhere here. They have songs, like all the songs in it are from different real artists. It's not like the Nickelodeon producers coming up with stuff. Aerosmith's done a song. Panic at the Disco's done a song. David Bowie's done a song. Like, each song is by like real people. Hold on, one sec. The list of artists that lent their songs to this: Yolanda Adams, Steven Tyler and Joe Perry of Aerosmith, Sarah Bareilles, Jonathan Colton, Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros, Flaming Lips, Lady A, Cyndi Lauper, John Legend, Panic at the Disco, Plain White Tees, They Might Be Giants, T.I., David Bowie, and Tom Kenny and Andy Paley.
T.I.
The SpongeBob musical, guys. What happened?
T.I. has a song in the SpongeBob musical.
Yeah, man.
I'm more impressed about Bono and the Edge.
Yeah.
Or did you even say? Did you say them or not?
Bono and the
No,
Edge.
you said Aerosmith, didn't you?
Yeah, Aerosmith.
Yeah.
Steven Tyler and Joe Perry. Yeah.
I love that Aerosmith wanted to go after the Bono and the Edge money from the Spider-Man musical that flopped.
Yeah, they did. I mean, they arguably tied themselves to a safer project.
Literally safer. Like
Yeah.
they're not flying sponges around the ceiling.
You'd be surprised.
In the chat, David Bowie came back from the dead for SpongeBob. Like,
Thought too. How long has this
Yeah.
musical been running?
I mean, I'm sure it's his estate.
Or when was it? Yeah.
Or if they just used his song, like they don't like. So is it a jukebox musical then?
No, you'd think so, but it's not. They're like real SpongeBob related songs. Like there's a song with Sandy and SpongeBob called Chop to the Top, where they have to climb a mountain of discarded water bottles and they chop their way to the top of it. It gets a little bit.
I need to see this.
Yeah.
I need to see this. And it does deserve a Tony Award.
Listen, I think it either was, and no, it was nominated for. It might have won for set design. And we saw a UK traveling production, and the sets were fine. But if you look at the Broadway sets for it, like they went hard, and like it looks real good, the Broadway stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, I would recommend it. You know, if you want a silly fun time, go watch SpongeBob the musical.
I'm checking to see if it won any awards, like any Tonys.
Yeah, I mean that. See, things like I never watched SpongeBob when it was airing. Like I've gone back and watched a few episodes here and there because of the age difference between Kristen and I. Like Kristen has seen a lot more SpongeBob than like I ever probably will. But I've never seen a bad SpongeBob episode. Like everything's just like Ren and Stimpy-esque.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I always roll my eyes at people my age or older that used to and still complain about SpongeBob. And I'm like, we watched Ren and Stimpy. Stop it. Like,
Yeah.
we watched.
In case you were wondering, yeah, at one point Patrick turns to the crowd and goes, "Is mayonnaise an instrument?" Because of course he does. That's the line. You got to say it.
Yeah.
The lit.
I really
The lit.
I really hope that mayonnaise is an instrument in the score.
Oh, you know what? I didn't even look. That's something I'm gonna have to look at later.
I'm surprised that your wife hasn't seen a single episode of SpongeBob and liked the musical.
Yeah, that was the interesting part because she's like, "I'll be totally lost." I'm like, "You won't. You absolutely won't." I mean, I think is like as bad as it gets is like they talk about Sandy's past living in Texas really quickly, but like that's really is like she missed some of the in jokes, but that's it.
Okay.
Like I said, it's an episode on stage.
Yeah, yeah. Like she was like, "Why did mayonnaise get such a big laugh?" And I'm like, "The show."
Oh man. All right, Ryan, what'd you watch?
Okay, so I need to
Sounded like
explain
it
this.
hurt.
Okay, so this 30-minute show thing was a VHS tape that I had when I was a kid, and I've been looking for this on the internet for the past 15 years on and off because I have such fond memories of watching this over and over and over and over again. Like, I don't think I ever watched a movie on VHS to where the tracking wouldn't work on the VCR to get rid of the static lines. I did that to this VHS when I was a kid. It's called Dinosaurs with an exclamation point. a fun-filled trip back into the past. Basically, this kid gives a classroom report on dinosaurs with the help of an animated chalkboard, and Will Vinson's claymation dinosaurs. So as he's giving his report, the chalkboard turns into like a claymation set, and all the dinosaurs go around and do dinosaur things, and they explain very basic facts about dinosaurs. But here's the thing. Fred Savage is in this, and he plays the kid at the beginning, like needing to do his report. And there's like a dream sequence, and he gets lost in a cave full of like, like smoke on the ground, and then that's when it turns into to the whole classroom thing. I found it on YouTube, the whole thing. It's on YouTube, and it's been up there for the past 11 years. And my problem was that I could never remember the name of this thing whenever I try to look for it, and that's why I'd always keep on missing it. I've probably watched it 3 or 4 times this week.
For anyone wondering, it's called Dinosaurs with an exclamation point. If you're listening and can't see the image at home,
I found it.
So
I will put a link to the video in the description so everyone can watch it and see how Ryan spent his last week.
Like, I've watched it maybe 3 or 4 times just for nostalgia's sake. Like, this puts me right back because this thing came out in 1987. And I think we might have lost this VHS in our move in 1993 to Pennsylvania. And it's funny. And probably else who didn't grow up with this is probably going to watch it and go, this is what you've been looking for the past 15 years? But I care about it.
That's the kind of stuff that I genuinely love, though. Like, that stuff that, like, okay, I get it. This is going to mean nothing to you, but back when I was 10, this was the best thing. Like,
yeah.
I think that's so cool. I wanted to make fun of it because I skipped ahead to 18 minutes and 40 seconds and saw a mass graveyard of dead dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And wanted to make fun of it. But, like, whatever. Like, I've had that movie. It's probably Fightful Goes West for me. Where, like, it probably doesn't hold up, but man, was that movie it back in the day.
Yeah, and the last half when he's giving the report and there's the claymation dinosaurs, you can hear the classroom in the background, and there's like the bully class clown character keeps on making of someone's mother, and the someone's name's Margaret. So whenever the kid is like saying stuff about the dinosaurs, this kid in the background goes, "Yeah, like Margaret's mother," and then there's a woman going, "Stop it."
It's pretty great.
It's very, very, very late 80s. It's
good. It's solid writing. Well done.
Yeah,
the 80s.
definitely.
Oh.
All right. Well, check that out. It's on the YouTube. Can't wait for the strike to be over so we can talk about new stuff. Because I feel like we're just grasping for straws, guys. All right, let's get into today's main topic. It's my pick for the week, and we have a little bit of a trend going on from the last time I was here. Another film set in San Francisco. We're going to call this group of episodes the San Francisco Treat. Mike Myers and So I Married an Axe Murderer. Directed by Thomas Chalamet. The film stars Mike Myers as a poet who fears commitment and suspects his girlfriend may have a knack for killing off her significant others. This is a comedy that came out in 1993. Stars Mike Myers, Nancy Travis, and Anthony LaPaglia. I don't think Ryan, have you seen this before the show?
I saw this a very, very long time ago.
Devin, you had not seen this, correct?
I didn't even know this existed. It flew so far under my radar.
Yeah, it's a cult classic for sure because it did not do well at the box office. I have a fun story to tell about my introduction to this movie. Okay. Do you guys remember Seen It?
Yeah.
The DVD board game.
Yeah.
I think it was Seen It or the Trivial Pursuit DVD game. We were playing that one Christmas with my uncle and aunt, and a clip from this came on. It's the clip of Anthony LaPaglia and Mike Myers as his dad sitting on the couch and he's just staring into the sides of the kid's head, like, look at that thing. It's like Sputnik with edges. We just lost it, and we're like we just got caught up in the scene and just all laughing our asses off. And then the question came up, what was the name of this movie? And I was like, so I Married an Axe Murderer, because I knew it was a thing. Like, I had written a paper on like Mike Myers the year before. And so I was like, so I Married an Axe Murderer. And everyone's like, how did you know that? And then no one ever wanted to play that game with me again. That was my introduction. Like, I'd never seen the movie before, but that was my introduction to it. So, and then I eventually watched it, I think, in college. And this is one that I'll watch maybe once a year, just because I like the soundtrack. I think the comedy is underrated. I even said to my wife, like, I wish Mike Myers did more stuff like this. Yeah, that's my history with So I Married an Axe Murderer. Devin, since this was your first watch, what did you think of the film?
This was fun. Like, I really liked it. I think part of me understands why it's like so like cult classic and not like classic, because there are some parts that like I just don't think age well, that are like a little bit of an interesting choice, and I'll talk about this a little bit later. But like overall, I thought it was a fun movie. I mean, it was Mike Myers workshopping his fat bastard impression, and Mike Myers just doing Mike Myers jokes, which I don't hate. I thought that was wonderful. I like this movie.
Ryan, what are your thoughts from watching it again?
Well, my thoughts before watching it again was strictly, oh, I've seen this. I don't remember a thing about it except for maybe a handful of scenes. And I like it. And I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. It's just like Devin said, like, it's Mike Myers being Mike Myers. He does pull one of his like characters when it comes to the character of his character's father. But other than that, like, I feel like this is the closest Mike Myers could ever get to doing a early 90s Tom Hanks film.
Oh, fair. All right.
Like here, this movie is kind of like let's take Sleepless in Seattle, change it, and Mike Myers it up a little bit, and then you get this type of a thing. Like, that's what I mean. Like, it's more of just like a straightforward comedy, and he's not playing a cartoonish character as his main role. And I liked it a lot.
Yeah, that's my big thing about the Mike Myers career. Like, after this, like, outside of this, his big things in the 90s were Wayne's World and Austin Powers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much it. Like, that's all he really did after this. Like, I think because this flopped, he stuck to, like, even Austin Powers wasn't a huge hit at first. Like, that found its audience on VHS at Blockbuster, and then they greenlit the sequel. But this never had that tracking. It never really picked up because I think the title doesn't help. Because
I don't know. I like the title.
I like the title too, but it's a bizarre title when you look at like something else like Sleepless in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was going to say that. I was going to bring that up. If it was just titled Axe Murderer, I think people would have been a little bit more intrigued in going to it. It's the same thing for bands. Like, short and simple. Like, keep names and titles short and simple.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to have a full sentence.
The other thing too is, like, if you just read the title, it's like, so I married an axe murderer. Okay. But if you have Mike Myers say, so I married an axe murderer, like, you can definitely hear him say that in like the Wayne's voice, like the Wayne voice. So I think it's a easy sell if you know it's Mike Myers and if you're familiar with Mike Myers. But it's also a still a tough sell if you're not.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I was Googling the longest movie names because I was like, does this one rank up? It doesn't rank up there. It's not one of the longest movie names. But Yeah, it's a little bit wordy, but makes more sense in his tone. You're right.
Yeah. And he does do the what he goes on to do in Austin Powers, where he plays two characters here. He plays he plays his main character and then his own dad, which he based off of his dad. Um, Devin, was that something that you thought didn't age well?
No, that was perfect.
Okay.
I literally thought he was workshopping the fat bastard character because he's just, he had some of the same like, oh, dead sexy, and I'm like, yeah, all right, I've heard that line before in a different context, and it was very funny. I don't know if you had this watching it the first time or if it was just me, but I was like, oh, that's Mike Myers, and then I like looked to the mom and I'm like, are you also Mike Myers in really good costume?
Do you know who that was?
I don't know who that was. No.
Ryan, did you recognize the mom?
I recognized her, but I've seen her in so much stuff, but I can't remember her name.
I recognized her from. Let me get her name, because I want to be respectful. I recognize her from A Christmas Classic. Her name's Brenda Fricker.
Okay.
She is the homeless lady in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
Yeah.
Is she?
Yes.
Holy cow, that is so cool.
Or as she's billed in the
love that
movie,
character.
Pigeon Lady. I didn't realize that was her actual name in the movie.
Oh, they did her dirty.
Yeah. So were there any moments in this that stood out to you film wise, like just storytelling wise? Because there were a few things that I made note of that I wanted to talk to you guys about, but did anything jump out at you? It was like, oh, that was interesting. That was a cool choice.
Just very 90s stuff. Like the whole opening just screams early 90s.
The tracking shot of the coffee cup.
Yeah.
Like I've seen that in music videos from the 90s. I've seen that in commercials from the 90s. I've seen other movies do the same thing. And I know Friends wasn't out by this point, but I would not be surprised if this, like, not that this movie influenced some of their style choices for the coffee shop, but I wouldn't be surprised if just the general consensus on how you film a coffee shop in the 90s, like, that's where it went to, and then Friends is where it ended up, because like I said, I've seen that type of shot done a lot.
Yeah. Devin, anything stick out to you?
I really like just literally filmmaking wise, love, and will rewatch all the time the montage in the meat shop when he starts working there with her. Love it. I absolutely love it. That's one of my favorite parts of the movie.
I was so tempted to thaw out a piece of steak and just wear long sleeves, like but I didn't.
That part made me laugh.
Mom, I need to go to the school nurse.
He he's like, ow.
Yeah. I was just gonna bring that part up. Yeah, that montage is great. There's a really cool transition between scenes where it wipes, but the camera's moving with the wipe, which you don't see often. Because I think whoever's behind the camera on this got to have some fun with it and play around, because the technology of having two characters played by the same person was still kind of new from Back to the Future 2 in '89. So,
and it's done well. It feels like he walks into his space a couple of times. Like
the biggest problem I have with it is Mike Myers' performance when he does like he's giving it all for the dad, but then his reaction is like, "Oh, come on, Dad!" Like it's just very stiff. But he definitely gets better with it. By the time you get to Austin Powers.
Mm-hmm. Can I just ask an open question to both of you? Guys, what happened to beat poetry? Where did we go wrong that this isn't something that we still do? I can't tell you how much I genuinely, this is the part I didn't think aged well, but truly loved the, whoa, man.
Whoa, man.
every
Yeah.
time. It's so good.
Yeah, you can still find people or places that do this. It's slam poetry readings.
So is it slam poetry or beat poetry?
I think
Sounds like slam poetry to me, except for the jazz in the background. I like the jazz. I really didn't like the poetry reading. I really did.
Oh, I loved all of it.
Yeah, I was really like we have the soundboard now. I was really tempted. Like I wish I could find a track. I was going to do the whole thing. Harriet, hard-hearted harbinger of haggis.
Here, Devin, if you want to hear more of that, there's a scene in 22 Jump Street, where one of the characters has to go up unprepared to give a slam poetry reading like that.
So I want to make an announcement. I just found out that London has a Genesis poetry slam where you do your poetry over top of Genesis songs. Guys, why don't I do this?
Dude, you're living in the land of confusion.
It is London.
Not everybody.
Yeah, we're gone.
Is it
I
just
love it.
Genesis stuff, or does Phil Collins stuff make it in there too?
I think it's just Genesis. I think it's just Genesis stuff. It looks like it's only that. I don't see any Phil Collins stuff
Well,
in here.
Devin, I know what your homework is.
It's gonna be to go to this.
Yeah, you're gonna need to perform at it
Oh yeah. Okay. Yep.
for social media. Like do it for the podcast, man.
I'm going to 100%. This is it now. I need to go to like one of them to see what it's like. Like I need to get my like
Yes.
feet wet. Like are all of them doing it to In the Air Tonight, or only most of them doing it to In the Air Tonight? Like I need to gauge that.
That's not Genesis. That's Phil Collins,
No, it's not.
isn't it? I could
I
have
think you're
sworn.
right.
I missed it. What song?
In the Air Tonight. I think that is
That's
Phil Collins. Wow.
What Genesis songs are you going to do it to?
Oh, I mean, if I have to pick one, it's going to be. I can't. Oh yeah, I Can't Dance. It's going to be that one. 'Cause
You have to do an interpretive dance to it too.
you have to, because I mean, Mike Myers does it in the movie. Like at one point, he's like point. You know, like
So-
in line with the like. How do the jazz musicians know when to do that? Do they like have rehearsals?
Mhm.
They do. Okay, because was I the only one that got in the weeds with mechanics of how slam poetry works now? Like, did I fixate too much on this?
You might have.
I think you did. Yeah.
I mean, it's all improv anyway, like for jazz. So if he's the lead, if they're just doing like 12-bar blues, like he can give them different hand cues for like the trumpet, and then like they can follow along with the beat of the poem, or he can follow along with the beat of the band.
Oh, true. It's kind of back and forth.
So it's like scatting, but with words.
Yeah. Okay. I got to do this to the podcast now,
Yeah,
guys. I'm so
you do.
excited.
You do. I'm kind of disappointed you didn't write a poem for this.
If I
Unless
had
you
the
want-
time, man.
If you want to come up with one on the spot, I won't be mad.
All right, here we go. Give me a beat. Can you give me a beat?
Of all of the artistic things to get pressured into, we have to do slam poetry.
Drinks are on your lips, but does the liquid nourish your mind? Mike Myers has hips, but does he have kind of hips? That's it. I did it, guys.
This
Can I get the
poem
snaps?
sucks.
No. Listen. A+ material here. That's gonna be my Genesis
Oh
one.
man. Oh.
I wonder if the theme has to be Genesis too, or if I can riff.
Just find a song that I agree with, and then once the song was over, go, I agree, and then walk off the stage.
I kind of wish that it was slam poetry to any song. Like you just go in there and do slam poetry to Spanish Flea. Like,
Oh.
um,
Put on WAP.
yeah.
Do slam poetry to that.
Oh man. Um. So for dealing with an axe murderer in the title, um, there's not really an axe murderer in this.
No, the
mean-
title. Go ahead.
By the
There
end,
is.
there is at the end, but
Mhm.
but they don't say it. Like, at no point does he actually look at the camera and say, "So I married an axe murderer." Like, it's just like, no, she's a murderer. She killed her other husbands.
Mhm.
It's a small thing, but it always
She had an axe at one point.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm going off of.
Yeah.
It did ruin one part for me though, because he was like worried. There was that scene where he was worried that like she was gonna poison him, and she went to give him a drink, and I'm like, no, she uses axes. You're fine. Drink that.
Yeah.
Like it ruined the tension of the scene for me.
I like the setup of the character that he's playing being unable to commit to a relationship, and then like finally committing, and then telling his buddy, "Don't let me mess this one up," and then all of a sudden he's just like, "Wait, I have legitimate concerns," and he's like, "No, you don't. Like, it's okay." I really like his friends' scenes in this, mostly because of the late Alan Arkin, the police captain,
Right.
who, like, I just like that the movie takes a break from the main story and Mike Myers just to be like, I'm a cop, but I never got to do the stuff cops do in movies or TV shows. And then the rest of the movie is just the captain yelling at me, "Damn it, if you don't do this right, your badge is going to be on my desk." Like, How was that? Was that too much? Like, just Alan Arkin's performance in this is fantastic.
Yeah,
Rest in peace.
That honestly is probably my favorite part of the movie, is all those breaks in dealing with the captain.
Were there any other cameos that you guys saw that you enjoyed?
The friend Rose. Where do I know her from? I should have looked this up before the podcast.
She is played by Amanda Plummer, who was just on Star Trek Picard season 3 as the bad guy. She's also in Pulp Fiction.
That's where I know her from. Okay, got it. Because she showed up and I'm like, oh, it's her, and just assumed that it would come to me where I knew her from, and never actually looked into it. Yeah, I liked her.
She's the daughter of the late Christopher Plummer.
Is she?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Which the whole Star Trek thing is like, he played the bad guy in the last Kirk and Spock movie, and she played the bad guy in the last Picard story.
That's kind of cool,
it's
though.
It's like a circle. Ryan,
So
anyone?
I actually have a few. Actually, I had to go to IMDb to get the names. Charles Gordon, the driver of the car, him. Debbie Miser, the date that his buddy brought to the diner.
Oh, yeah.
What do you know her from?
I've seen her in a bunch of stuff from the 90s. Whenever I see her, I'm like, oh, I know her. But then I can never recall right now the movie that the main thing.
Empire Records.
Empire Records probably is
Beethoven's second.
There's also that one too. Like I said, she's in a lot of stuff. So I mean, whenever I see her, I'm like, oh. And then I was surprised that Flatboy Slim was in this movie. There was a very almost bald, skinny guy dancing. I'm just gonna say that that's I'm just gonna say that that's who that. Say who that was. Or was that Moby? That might be Moby. One of them.
Wait, was it actually Moby? Or
that was a joke. That was a joke.
Oh, good. Okay.
I saw the guy dancing. He was rail thin and he was bald, and I'm like, hey, Fatboy Slim or Moby? I think Moby's the one I'm actually thinking of.
Yeah, he probably is. Phil, I always forget Phil Hartman's in this. Like, I miss Phil Hartman so much. But he has a fun scene. Like, and even there's a scene at the newspaper with Kramer and I forget the other guy's name, but he was like the landlord on Friends.
He was the landlord on Friends. He was in the Wayne's World movie too.
Yeah.
Mm.
Just their scene where they're like talking about these murders and like, yeah, we know, like, we get it, like, it's okay, like, we know that they were real people, like, you don't need, like, just back off, man, like, it's okay, like, I get it, like, there are just so many weird moments in this that almost take you out of the movie, but they're so funny that it's entertaining.
It's a really silly world they make in it, but
Yeah.
like I don't hate it.
Yeah. And I think the world kind of continues. Like, there kind of was a semi-sequel to this.
What?
Yeah, there was a Mike Myers show on Netflix last year called The Pentaveret.
Yeah.
Which is what the dad is talking about in this, the secret society.
Really?
Yeah.
Have either of you seen this?
I have not. No. I wanted to rewatch this movie before I watched it, but it's Mike Myers doing a bunch of different characters. It's got Debbie Mazur, who you just mentioned, Ryan, in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a whole bunch of people. But yeah, they kind of made a sequel or followed up on that idea of the Pentaveret.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Why did I not watch this show?
Because you hadn't seen the movie yet.
Oh, that's fair. Now I really want to, though. I mean, this looks very fun.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to talk about as to why I wanted to do this movie is the soundtrack. I might not have unpacked everything, but I unpacked my CDs. You've got a bunch of 90s pop rock stuff on here. You got Toad the Red Sprocket, Spin Doctors, The Laws, Mike Myers doing slam poetry.
Wait, that made the soundtrack?
Yeah, This Poem Suck is on the soundtrack.
Okay, yep, I'm getting it.
Yeah.
Oh. I gotta be honest, that was probably the best use of what was it, the Spin Doctors Two Princes that I've seen. Just like that, I don't know, like that panning shot into like them standing on a boat. I was like, yeah, man, this is a good song for this.
Such a bad use of police resources just for the two of them to go out to Alcatraz.
Oh, absolutely. Hold on, now I forgot about. I just remembered the Alcatraz scenes.
Yeah, with Phil
What
Hartman.
was the tour guide's name? He was Victoria or Vicky or something. Vicky. That was it.
John Johnson. You can call me Vicky.
Yeah.
No. My name's John Johnson, but my friends call me Vicky.
That was it. Yeah.
And then Myers goes, oh, I love Vicky.
Man. Yeah, that was a really good part too.
Devin, did you say you're going to Scotland?
I am. I'm going to Scotland. I leave in a couple hours, actually.
You gonna do anything fun in Scotland?
I mean, mostly it's going to be a lot of work trips, but I'm going to try to take in some local cuisine, I think.
Have you been to a bar that does karaoke in Scotland?
No.
Can you at least walk by or just pop your head in a place? Because I want to know if they do karaoke to the actual like music like we do here in the States, or if they just have like a drunk bagpiper off to the side.
I certainly hope it's that. If it's not, I'll be disappointed. I don't know. What kind of food should I have while I'm up there? I've toured a few of the places that I've like gone to already that are kind of by the office. Is there any like very Scottish food that any of you'd recommend?
A Scotch egg.
A Scotch egg?
Yeah. That's my recommendation.
Haggis, they brought it up in the movie.
Ryan said the secret word.
He said the secret word. Guys, it was haggis.
Ah!
I had no idea there was even a secret word, so I mean,
Yeah, it was haggis.
It was a
Ah!
Yeah, you said it. This is the part that I remember from Pee Wee's Playhouse that I remember
Yeah.
really liking.
yeah.
Aw.
Surprise. That's our. that
Yeah,
was our
we did
tribute.
it.
Yeah.
We did it.
We did it, Ryan. We did it for you because we knew you grew up on Pee Wee.
My couch, it stopped smiling, so now I'm more comfortable now.
Good.
So, okay. But I did remember the movie that I know her from. Why
Okay.
What
I
is
always
it?
remember her. Toys.
Okay.
Oh, sure.
Because she's the nurse. She's the nurse that's in love with LL Cool J.
Watching the movie, my wife turned to me. She's like, Harriet was the wife on a sitcom, wasn't she? And I was like, I don't know. She was the wife on Last Man Standing, the Tim Allen show that ran for a few seasons.
Oh,
a few years
interesting.
ago.
I heard that one got really popular.
It did, and that I've only watched the scenes that have the people from Home Improvement where they make jokes about Home Improvement.
Oh, that's fun. Okay.
Yeah.
Like his
Saw
wife.
the right parts of it.
Yeah. Like at one point he comes back on as Tim the Toolman Taylor and talks to his new character. It's
What?
very weird, and yeah.
It's very strange.
Tim Allen's a choice. But
Sorry, I now have to bring up this story because it's nothing to do with the movie. But when I was growing up, one of the people that my mom was dating, we went over to her house and we were like, "Oh, do you know what we should watch?" I think it was like Jungle to Jungle or something. And he goes, "There will be no Tim Allen movies in this house." Like to this day, I don't know what his problem was, but I think about it all the time.
is it because
Mike, I hope you're okay.
is it because he was arrested for drugs in the 70s?
That would make me want to watch him more. I
Because-
can't imagine why.
Because even then he was trying to get to infinity and beyond.
We need to make an Alan tells a bad joke sound.
Yes. Wait, I might have one. Nope, that's not it.
It's actually pretty good though.
There we go. I still got the Free Willy sounds in there.
I don't know. That might. Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Wait, I got it. That's the
Oh
sound.
yeah, okay. That's classic. Well done.
Yep. All right. Anything else for So I Married an Axe Murderer?
So
No.
the only things that I remembered from this before watching it was him running away from the murderer on the roof.
Mm.
And him as his dad yelling at the TV during the soccer game. Those were the only two things that I remembered from this, because I think I saw this maybe before I was 15, definitely. Last time I saw it. So those are the only two things I even remembered from it.
Okay.
I think my last thing is, did you guys get caught in the internet trap in this movie? Because I definitely did when looking up the cast of the movie. Where there was a brief 3 seconds of my life where I fully believed that the redhead they were making fun of was Carrot Top, because someone's tagged him as Carrot Top on the internet, and it's not him, but the internet keeps saying it's him and keeps that joke running.
Even as a child, Carrot Top had that bone structure, so no, I did not think that was Carrot Top.
I totally did. I was about to get on here and be like, guys, did you catch Carrot Top? And no, it wasn't him, but the internet keeps saying it is, and that might be my favorite thing.
It's like Sputnik, spherical, but quite pointy at parts.
That's Carrot Top.
He's gonna go cry himself to sleep tonight on that huge pillow. Like, I just love that, and just Anthony LaPaglia like trying not to laugh the whole time is what makes that even, because that's just Mike Myers improving. Like it's hysterical. Like I want more of that. I hope that's what the Pentaveret is to a point. Like I want him to just like riff.
Yeah, I hope it is. I hope
Because
he
when
didn't
you
lose any of that.
when you do something like Austin Powers, it's kind of hard to just riff like that.
Mhm.
But I am probably gonna go watch the Pentaveret after this.
Okay, I want to hear. Does this count? Can we talk about it next week if you watch it? Like, you got to tell me if it's
Yeah. Well,
even just a thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah.
Like, I just got to know.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Oh, perfect.
So yeah, that does it for my pick this week of So I Married an Axe Murderer. Devin, next week's your pick. Are you going to keep the San Francisco train trolley a rolling?
Of course I am. Yeah. Why would I like that? Why would I ever break it? Guys, next week we are watching the 1997 classic George of the Jungle.
Brian, have you seen George of the Jungle?
Hey, in 1997?
Yeah.
That came out in 1997?
Starring Brendan Fraser.
That's a 1997 movie?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, no, I just watched it like 3 weeks ago.
Did you just watch it 3 weeks ago?
I love that movie.
I haven't watched it since 1998, so
this counts then. We're counting it. This is what we're doing.
I love that movie.
Oh, good.
It's one of the movies that Kristen and I put on whenever like we don't have enough time to watch a full movie, but there's nothing really on that we really want to watch. We'll put that on.
It's an hour and a half long.
I will find
no, because it doesn't matter if we don't finish it or not. Like I said, if we're like an hour to watch something,
I will find my I support Brendan Fraser pin and wear it proudly on the show next week.
Absolutely.
So I'm looking forward to that. So that'll be our trilogy of San Francisco set movies, because part of it takes place in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now we have to come up with interconnected lore and headcanon. So get ready for that question, guys.
Well, I already got the connection between Vertigo and this, so.
Do you?
Yeah. That
Might
park.
have to rewatch this.
That park.
Oh, the park. Oh, okay. Fair.
Yeah. Until next week, you can subscribe to You Have to Watch This podcast on YouTube. Listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. We're everywhere except for Stitcher. Stitcher, that's going away, but we're still there if you can still download it. You can see Ryan and I at the Harrisburg Pop and Comic Con with our friends at Rum Runners Podcast on August 26th and 27th, right? Are those the dates? Yeah. You can see us there. We'll be doing some fun giveaways, giving away some movie posters, merch, other fun things. So come out, say hi. It'll be a lot of fun. Until next time, for You Have to Watch This podcast, I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devin.
This podcast sucks.